Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I had a few requests the other day to do a skin retouching tutorial, but more so for color correction. So generally, like if you're shooting maybe against a wall in daylight or something that can kind of cause a color cast, so that could be plants as well, it could be trees, and that might leave like a green tinge on the skin tone, or like in this photo, for example, it's leaving obviously like a very yellow orangey cast. So what I really want to show you guys is just how to get rid of that cast. This is generally the way I like to do it, and there's lots of ways to do it as usual, as with anything in Photoshop. The first thing I'm going to start off with is creating a selective color adjustment layer. Okay, so, and I'm going to remove some of the yellow, because there's obviously the main color in this photograph at the moment is yellow, and it's really taking over the skin tone. So I'm just going to really drop that back a fair bit, and I'm going to go back to the reds and just play around with the magenta just to see what that's kind of doing. And then I'm going to go to the neutrals, because most of the color cast in this is in the neutrals by the looks of it. The shadows and highlights seem to be not too bad, but we'll just work on the neutrals at the moment. So I'll just up that a bit and drop the yellows back just a little bit further as well. So don't worry so much about what else is sort of changing in the photograph, just mainly focus on the skin tone, because that's what will be changing. We won't be changing around the photograph. So just going to up that as well. Okay, so I think that's starting to look a little bit better. So I'll just show you the difference in color, and it's a massive difference. So what we're actually going to do now is work on the layer mask. So we need to click on this white box here, and we're going to go Control I to invert it. And then we're going to get the paintbrush tool and make sure that white is selected. And we're going to probably set the opacity to at least, I'd say 80. And now we're just going to paint over the skin tone. So just the areas we want to change. So, and I mean, you can paint over other areas as well. If you feel like the hair has too much of a cast or it's not blending in well, we can always go over that as well. So I'm just going to do the skin tone at the moment though. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys what that's done. So you can see that the cast is pretty much gone there. I feel like the hair needs to be blended in just a little bit more to the skin tone, so I'm just going to go over the hair slightly, but I'm going to drop the opacity back to about 20%. And we'll see how that goes. Or 19, that's fine. So I'm just going to go over these parts just a couple of times. So obviously the colours in this photograph are pretty much all warm, including the background. So in photographs where you've got different colour casts, such as, you know, if you're in a garden or something and you've got a green cast on the skin, you're going to notice the difference a lot more once you do this. But I couldn't actually find any photos that I'd taken with like a green color cast, and I think that's just because they're all floating around on my other hard drive somewhere. But I know I've definitely got some somewhere, but I'm just going to select black, so you can just easily do that by clicking the arrows there. And I'm just going to go over the neck just here. I think that needs to be a little bit more yellow. It's looking a little bit too pink at the moment. Alright. And sometimes I also just like to desaturate the skin tone a little bit too. I find that sometimes helps. So let's have a look at that. That's like a massive difference. And we've kind of blended in the hair nicely, but not too much because there wasn't really too much of a problem with it in the first place. But okay, so I think I might just desaturate the skin tone just a little bit. So probably the easiest way to do this is just do a similar thing but with a vibrance adjustment layer, and then we're going to click on this white box again and make sure the vibrance is probably no more than like -6, maybe -5 actually, and that'll probably, and paintbrush, make sure it's white, and Control I for inverting it. And now we're just going to paint over these areas and just get the vibrance down just a little bit. Alright, so if you've got uneven lighting in photos, usually it's a lot harder to correct the skin tones. I know I've spent hours on some photos just trying to get the colours right. But I think I'm pretty much done with that now, so I'm going to take a snapshot and show you guys what it was before and what it is now. So it's a pretty big difference, I think, and this can be applied to, like I said, any photograph. So if you've got any sort of color cast, just remember when you're doing your selective color adjustment layer to focus on the areas where there's too much of one color. So obviously in this image there was too much yellow, so I went to the yellows and then adjusted accordingly. So if there's too much green or blue on the face, you would just do the same thing, but click the other box. Alright guys, so I think I'm pretty much finished here. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope it helps. If there's any other requests that you guys have, please let me know because I'm always open to taking them on board. Alright, thanks guys for watching and I'll see you next time.